Standard Time.
Hello.
Hi, Mark. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Let us wait for another minute and see if a few more people just join us. Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Jin. Hi, Radley. And hi, VT. Hi, Lucas. Oh, hi, Radley. You have a
Hey,
question?
Venetia. Yeah, so I have a scenario where I need to get a list of users, but I don't want to have their domain. So if I pull the email address, I want to be able to strip off the @ sign and the domain and just get a list of essentially usernames.
Got it. So where are you trying to pull this list from? Inside decisions, or is it outside from an API call? How is the list initially being pulled?
Sure, it's from a local group within decisions.
Oh, okay. So you just want the email address to be displayed, right? When you're trying to get that
Well,
list.
yeah, right. So I'm going to pull the email address, but I need to be able to strip off the @ sign and the domain um, from that string, from each string.
You need to split the string.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's not a consistent position where the @ sign is.
Sure.
Okay, sure. We can talk on that. With that, let me just get started with this. So I'm Venetia, part of sales engineering team, and I also have Mark over here helping us today with our lunch and learn. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, everyone, based upon the location that you are in. And just to give you a quick overview, so if you are approaching the decisions end of life support, please feel free to reach out our support team who would be able to help you with that. So currently we are on version 8, so please make sure that you're using this version. And then just to give you a quick overview, we have a product roadmaps that happen every bi-weekly. So the next one is on August 24th. It's going to be scheduled Thursday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern. So please feel free to join these sessions. So you would be able to see the new upcoming changes as well as the changes that would be released in the next few months as well as the next 18 months. So with that, let me just jump in and help you with your question. So let me just go into the studio. I have my things and let me just create a flow over here. Get list of accounts and then strip the email information. Okay. So we are in the flow designer and over here, let me just go into the services, or maybe let me just fetch that. Okay. Using a fetch entity step. That's much easier. And now I would be able to get accounts. Okay, account 1. And now once we get that, this is the list of all accounts. So over here, I would be just getting into my data and it would be text. We can use regex, match, or we can just go ahead and place that one. So if I just go ahead and connect the result path to here. So let's go with another one. So you want to strip that information of emails, right? Like let's say if the email number, email constitutes of Venisha@decisions.com, which part are you trying to strip? Is it @ or is it like decisions.com or what type of information? Randy,
Yeah, I wanna get rid of @decisions.com.
@decisions.com. Okay. Let me just find that. Okay. Or we can just go ahead and go with data. Text rejects would be a little difficult because if you are you familiar with the patterns and the rejects? Just wanted to make sure.
Not really. No, everything I've done with rejects is I've had to search it and figure it out.
Okay, then we'll talk about this later on, but let me just go ahead and find the split string. That would be much more easier. And now I would be just connecting the results instead of rejects max. We'll talk about this one later too. And over here, the source would be entity results and all of the email address. So let me just pick that under E. Email address, there we go. Let's take only the first one just to show you an example. So you can have a for each or run flow for list just before that. So it would just give you all the information. Okay. So I'm just showing you one example. So separator is @. And now I would just add this to a new one or just update this information. So that's it. So let me just go ahead and debug this. Okay. Add a new one. Let me just call it as domain name so you can just see that one particular one. And over here, I'm just going to go ahead and pass that split string first output. So because over here, what I'm just trying to do is separate the email address after that @ and then do that. Pass the same as the input into this one. So if I just click on debug, now you would be able to see, okay, this comes as a system. So let me just mark the last one and the entities. Also, there are 40 items. So let me just take a second one, which is going to be, instead of first, I'll take the last. And click on debug. Now you can just see. So the input is Alexander, and you can see we use the separator @. So it just splits after this particular instance. So now I can just take this particular first name, which is the input for this. And you can see you already got that.
Perfect. That's what I needed. Thanks, Venisha.
Awesome. So because you would be running it in a list, you can use it a for each loop and then add items, or maybe use a run flows for list. That would be more efficient way. So you can just find a run flows for list and then group this. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a subflow. This is a list details. Okay, for now, this is good. And now I'm not going to use this, but I'm going to use a run flows for list. So you can just pass all of this list input type, which is the account type, and expected outcome will be a list of strings or whatever you can, and edit your flow using this. So you can just bring that steps, or if you already have a subflow, you just run this inside this, and eventually you would be getting the output as a list of strings.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you so much for your help.
No problem. That's a great question. So just to add on over here, Radley, if you are not getting that at a particular interval, you can also use a reject step, which would do essentially the same thing. So it would just output the values. So you can have regex match, regex doesn't match as an output, and you can just pick accordingly. But for that, you just need to have the regex configured accordingly, the pattern.
Great, thank you.
No worries. So, any more questions? Yes, Jin, you're not audible. You're on mute.
Okay, I just get unmuted
Yep,
by the
go ahead.
host. I think our team already talked to some of your teams, but I just want to confirm, ask a question again. So we are having like an external truth table. We're trying to populate the table with our existing data. It's about like 200 rows only. But it looks like after the external truth table has been created, our customers are not, business owners are not able to go into decisions to add and update rows as needed. Looks like the only way to get the data updated is through the source. In our case, is just a CSV file list. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So the external truth table doesn't give you the ability to edit directly for the sources, because if you are using a CSV file, then it would be a static. But alternatively, what you can do is I know this would not be a great recommendation, but every time there is a change, you can create a database inside Decision where you are storing all of that CSV info into a database, and then using that database as your external data source, so that as soon as that database gets updated, your external TT gets updated. So you would still give the user to upload a file by themselves. And as soon as they do that, the database gets updated and your external TT also gets updated by creating a workflow around that.
Okay, so we have to create that experience for that end user yes. to update the internal database, right?
Yes.
In order to, okay. Probably we will just keep it simple for this time being, and we will just use a regular truth table, which is more visualized, easy for the users to update as moving forward.
Correct. Like if you don't want them to keep on changing your database, that's one thing, but you can also give a workflow to make them those changes into your external DB. Like again, it's still a flow, like they have to create, select those inputs as well as what fields they have to update in your database, and then push it so that the database gets updated, which is externally, if it is not a CSV. So, yeah.
Okay, I think we will just keep it simple for this time being.
Yep, that's the only reason why I love a regular truth table versus an external, but it has its own benefits, external TT,
For the regular truth table, is there like a way we can like for initial load, is there any way to like initial loading like massive data from external source, or we have to like manually insert the rows accordingly?
I believe you have to manually insert. That's the one only option. That's the difference between an external truth table versus a regular one. So unfortunately, for a regular truth table, you have to enter that manually.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for the
No worries.
confirmation. Yep.
Great questions. VT, any questions from your side? It's nice. On today's session, we talked about external truth tables and we also talked about workflows where we can just strip things and pass the elements. These are regular use cases that we come along. So it's very important for us to know these things. That's great. Glad you guys asked these. We'll wait for a couple of more minutes and see if anyone has any more questions. If not, we can end this a little early so you guys can have an lunchtime all by yourself, 30 minutes of time. No problem, Jin. Have a nice day.
Thank you. See you guys.
See you. With that, if there are no further questions, I know we only have VT. Any last questions, VT? Okay, I take that as a no. Thank you guys for joining today's Lunch and Learn. So see you next week. Until then, bye. Have a great day.